Lord, want to welcome Barb Wire Bite Podcast, the video version, the only version. I am here with your host, Pitbull number one, Gary Wolf. It's a hot week of AEW in New York. How are you doing this week?
Oh, awesome, bro. What a fucking show. What a show. I got to admit, man, that right there, couldn't Vince run against him that night?
I would have.
That right there would have showed the ratings right there. It would have been, the ratings would have been so bad for Vince.
I got really pissy, like on that RTE show that I do with Cousin Cecil. I said, every time AEW or WWE, any company does a non-title match, that means the challenger goes over, it sets up their match at the pay-per-view for money. So I even said on the record, this match needs to end in a draw. And goddamn, that was the Malenko Guerrero Classic of 2020 because those two guys tore it down, 30-minute time limit draw. That was probably the best
Broadway, 30-minute Broadway. Bro, that was when they locked up, you heard the fans. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. I think they're like ECW fans.
They are.
To me, they are. I mean, I even see guys wearing ECF and W shirts. I even see I've seen another sign that said AEF and W now. That's going to be the next shirt. You know what I'm saying? So the people enjoyed it. They were into it, and that was great how they started it off so fucking hot. You know what I mean? Because I was I'm sitting there saying, if I was in the back, how am I going to follow that match? You know, which is what they do that on purpose, because that's how we did it in ECW. Because we all had to follow everybody's match. So to me, and guys in that locker room must have been like, holy shit, like how are we going to follow this? You know, and to this day, I'm still blown away how Vince would have let Bryan Danielson go. That's insane, dude. Insanity. And to me, it just proves my point that I had made a long time ago. Something's up.
Something gotta be.
Something is up, man, because you got Malachi Black, you got Danielson, you got
MJF better than you, and you know it right there. Yeah, supporting to my man.
Yeah, I mean, he's a promo cutter, man. I got to give him props. When I first seen him, I asked my boy, who the fuck is this kid? He's walking around the fucking autograph signing like he owned the fucking joint with this fucking scarf on, which I was going to take from him and wipe my ass with it. Because I'm like, this guy has no respect for nobody. Like, he just walks right on by, you know what I mean? Don't say hello. And I'm like, all right, you little fucker. Let's see. Let me see who did. Tell me who he is. So my boy told me who he was. And then Joey Janela was sitting right next to me. I didn't even know who he was, but he was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, he was. I kind of liked him. He was kind of laid back, and he wasn't a snob about it. But MJ, I mean, he was. I guess unless that's his gimmick, he was very annoying. He got me annoyed. So if anything, he worked me. You know what I mean? The way I look at it. And then you got, I seen today I was going through Facebook and it showed his parents and they're like, we're so ashamed to be his mom and dad. And I'm just like, oh, that's fucking awesome.
It is.
Like that was the smartest thing his parents could have done, but yeah, he and I think Jericho really liked him, because he can cut promos but as far as his work is concerned right now, he can't, like, as a heel, he can't call a whole match. You know what I mean? Because if it was that case, they would have had a lot better match, him and
Pillman Jr.
Pillman Jr. would have had a much better match. If he would have, if he was a little bit more veteran, you know what I mean, had a little bit more time under his hands, a couple more years, where he got psychology down, because I didn't like the way that match finished anyway. You know what I'm saying? It finished very flat.
My son he's 12, and he's a mark for AEW, really AEW. So my son has never actually seen Flair Steamboat, Flair Sting. He's never seen Malenko Guerrero, which I compared the last night's match to. He's never watched it, because kids today, their parents are listening, they got an attention span of 10 minutes. This was him for 30 minutes, and he is not Kenny's biggest fan. He hates Bryan Danielson from his time in WWE. 30 minutes, just what's going to happen? His chest is welted and all that. They were able to capture everyone. That was the best TV match I've probably ever seen.
And all it did for Bryan Danielson is make his money go, whoa, because he'll be working. I mean, he's going to go to Japan. He's going back to Japan, and this time he's going to make big money. Not like he did before. He was making peanuts compared to what he's going to make now. So, I mean, I was very, like I said, now it's just too many guys are there that Vince has to be hurting from this. Plus I heard different shit. Lately I heard Disney wants to buy it, and now he's starting to get interested. You know what I mean? He don't have the money the Khan family has. He just doesn't.
Well, would you think he's dangerous? Like when ECW was doing their thing and WCW was beating their ass, and Vince finally was like, God damn it, we're losing. We're losing. You got to do something. And then the Attitude Era hit. Do you think now if AEW keeps hitting this momentum, Vince is going to be like, fuck this. We're going to be number one again. Do you think he gets dangerous at a time like this, or do you think he's just too far out of touch?
I don't think he has the guys there to be that way. But the locker room is not ready for an attitude. That locker room is not ready at all for an attitude era. Absolutely not.
The funny thing is he's got like 4 guys over there. And the funny thing is with these 4 guys that I'm talking about, it's like, man, I really wish they'd go to AEW to have good matches. But I'm counting 4 in a locker room that it's like, God, these 4 are so good. It's 4 people. That's a tag match.
It's so bad. I honestly, I can't watch it.
No, I can't either.
Not in that bad.
My son's 12. He can't watch it.
You know what I mean? And then they're supposed to be drawing your son's age. It's supposed to be for kids that age.
It is, yeah. It's a family market. A good theory, the kids are going to buy the toys. The parents are going to pay the money. My kid don't buy their toys. My kid has me ordering Jungle Boy, Source. Hey, AEW's coming with the toys. They got a video game coming.
They do.
I'm telling you,
I was surprised to finally see Cody back, but he's been doing so much behind the scenes. He's got a TV show now. They're copying right off of Vince, with the Miz and Mrs. It's the same thing. I think that's going to be interesting. I love watching shows like that because it reminds me when I was in the business. Well, I'm still in the business, but it reminds me when ECW was around and I was 10 blocks away and we would have Rick Rude, Stone Cold, Mongo, Superfly, all the guys that would hang out. We would always hang out in my house before we went to the arena. And it was just so much fun, And
Were you surprised?
Huh?
Were you surprised Cody got booed out of the goddamn building yesterday? I wasn't, because I know that East Coast crowd is not a face crowd, but were you surprised that he kept getting booed? Malachi was cheered?
What I want to know is what the hell did fucking Anderson do?
He fell. He legitimately fell.
Well, did he fall on purpose, or did he just fall because he couldn't get around the post?
I think the going around the post, I'm pretty sure he just fucking fell because he's so fat and out of shape. No offense to Arn Anderson. And the second time, I think, was more like, first was the botch. I think the second was kind of like part of the angle, like maybe a little dissension. But keep this in mind, fans. Sting is 1 year younger than Arn Anderson. Let's look at the difference, but what leading a life of training gets you.
And how old Sting?
He's like, I think he's like 62 and Arn's like 63.
I'm 54. I could still work. I don't understand.
Sting worked his ass off last night.
Mm-hmm.
I have more respect.
That was the hardest I've seen him work. The last time I seen him work hard was against Rollins, which Rollins, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. You work against him, you're taking a chance.
Yeah.
You know, he possibly could hurt you. He's one of them guys that if you work against him, he could possibly hurt you. And he almost broke fucking Sting's neck with that stupid bomb gimmick he does with your head hits the turn.
Oh, the buckle bomb thing where he throws.
Well, yeah, I mean, that could break your fucking neck. And no, that's no bullshit. That's a shoot. It could break your fucking neck. If your neck hits it wrong, you know, all it takes is a little bit of fucking whiplash, and that's all it takes. And Sting was fucking hurt, man, for a while because of that. They even told Rollins to stop using it for a while, if you remember correctly.
Yeah, they told not to do that curb stomp either, but I think that was because it had a gang affiliation name or some shit like that, which everybody curb stomps. I wouldn't want to take a curb stomp. I don't think you could really shield from that. You wouldn't see it coming.
If I told you to bite the curb and I kicked your head, you're dead. You're dead. Curb stomp is a killer. You're dead. And you're gonna lose every single tooth in your mouth and your jaw. So I mean, oh yeah, I would love this. Yeah. I like that kind of. I'm a soul man, so I love violence. So
were you do you think, and here's what's weird now, you saw that, do you think they're gonna do something with Arn turning on Cody? Because it looked like when he had, and I say Arn, I don't consider.
What can Arn do? What can Arn do?
Well, remember when Cody came out and Arn's like, oh, go back in the ring, and Arn I hate how he carried. I still say it's a menu, but you know, it's supposed to be.
My girl called it last night. My girl said it's a Waffle House fucking menu.
It is.
my girl called it. She goes, that's a Waffle House menu. I could see it. And I'm like, well, knowing Arn, he's probably picking out breakfast after the show already.
I tweeted a picture because, and I normally, I have people that are always like, let's tweet during the shows. It's like, well, I want to watch the show. I want to enjoy it. But when Arn was out there, I tweeted the picture. Remember when Kevin Nash was dressed like him and he had the liver spots painted? And he's like, that's the one. I was like, Arn's at it again. And I tweeted that. So I thought that was funny. I like that. I like that bit.
Oh, yeah. They did all kinds of bits like that back in the day for Vince. I love that shit. That was some stuff that they got off of ECW that they did. And look how good it turned out. You know what I mean? I don't know why they just couldn't, like, I still to this day wish Shane McMahon would have took over ECW. You know what I mean? Stephanie and Vince could have handled A and B, cards. We would have been the C card, doing other cities. You know, we still would have, we still would have probably started drawing better on TV, knowing, especially if we had better production and all that stuff, because we would have Vince under our belts. You know what I mean? And I think we would have been very successful, but instead he figured, oh no, I'll just change to the attitude era and I'll do it myself. Yeah. Look how many guys out of that attitude era he'd lost. Think about it, man. A lot of guys, they got hurt or they OD'd or something happened to them bad. I mean, it comes with, when you're doing hardcore wrestling and you're putting your bodies on the line like we used to do every night. I mean, I broke my freaking neck. Okay, so this just shows you. Definitely.
Paul, here's a good question. I guess, like, let's say in the case of a Dreamer or I know Dreamer, I can say Dreamer because he's publicly said it. I haven't been paid in 6-7 months. You owe me $600,000. How did Paul get these people to work? I mean, like, I could get I can't pay you this month, I get you next month. Maybe I've been with you for like 5 years. Let me give you the benefit of the doubt. How did he get away with not paying people for 6-7 months? I mean, there's got to be a breaking point. After the second month, I would have told him to go fuck himself.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. There were some guys I had no idea like what their deal was. You know what I'm saying? Like I like me and my partner, we had our own deal. Like Sandman had his own deal. Everybody had their own deals. But I had learned, I'm not going to mention names and shit like that. It's nobody's business. But I had talked to one of the guys one day who was, over pretty big in the company, getting there. And he was like, yeah, man, I drive up every weekend. I drive to where you guys are. And I'm like, drive? You're not flying? He's like, no. And I drive myself in, and I'm only getting paid this much. And he's not even paying for my hotel. And I was just like, wow. So, I mean, this guy was up there as far as toward the end of the ECW. I mean, he was one of the bad guys up there, one of the big guys up there. So I was in shock of what he was getting paid. And I was very surprised that he was even doing it. But at that point, you got to understand, if you can get on television, you need to get on television. Even if you have to take a little bit less money, because that television exposure is only going to help you. It's not going to hurt you. So I was very shocked. But he owed guys, I know he owed guys like 30, 40, 20,000 to some guys. And I think some of them never even got their money. Some of them did. But I would think the majority of them didn't. Or knowing Paul Heyman, he worked it out where he turned around and said, I'll get you a job with Vince McMahon and then we'll break it even. That's a Paul Heyman gimmick right there.
That's what I was going to ask you. Was it the fact that they were so nervous about, well, motherfucker, you owe me money? Or, God, if I make him mad, he's in with Vince. He's going to work for Vince. If I make him mad, my shot with Vince is done. He'll blackball me. Do you think that had a lot to do with it too?
Yeah, I'm sure he broke it down to him and said, look, I'm going to be working for Vince. I'm already working for Vince. Vince has already given me a paycheck. I'll get you in with Vince. Yeah, I owe you 20 G's, but what's the quickest way you're going to see that money? If you go work for Vince. And I'll get you that job. Just, I don't know if he was able to finagle his way out of paying these guys, but I know a lot of them were pretty upset to where there was people talking about killing Paul Heyman.
Dreamer was going to do it at WrestleMania.
I heard that, yeah.
I can say that because Dreamer will admit it. I'm not slandering him.
No, he did it. He admitted it. And I mean, not many people would have cheered up for that. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, that would have been something could have been coming, I mean, I know Tommy did spend a lot of his own money. I mean, they didn't even have merchandise. ECW didn't have merchandise. The Pitbulls, okay, were the first team to have merchandise in ECW. We were the first guys to go get T-shirts made. And we were hooking up all the boys, Sandman, New Jack, all of them, Eliminators, all the guys that wanted T-shirts, we would send them to our guy to get T-shirts made. And then we would have fans sell them at the arena. So we told Paul, we're like, look, what are you waiting for? Why ain't you doing merchandise? I don't understand. And then at that point, I guess he couldn't handle it because he had so much on his plate. They were more or less saying, okay, we'll do your merchandise for you and give you 20%, or you do the merchandise and then you kick us back 20%, which is a Japan thing. And we were like, no problem. We'll just keep getting our stuff made. You know what I mean? And at one point, they didn't even ask us for any money. So I think he was just happy that we were actually getting everybody's T-shirts done, and then he could just, what he was doing was more or less just thinking about the ECW shirts, and that was Tommy Dreamer's job. So.
Now this is a 3-part question. Was Dreamer, part 1, was Dreamer the heart and soul of ECW? Do you believe that?
At one time, yes.
Now, the second part of this question, do you think the only way, and everyone said it from Bill Alfonso to me, nobody. The only way ECW could have truly ended if we watched Dreamer get thrown off a balcony. We watched him get nuts hit with a kendo stick, cement block broke on his nuts. Was the only way for ECW to end him getting shot.
No, because they would have came up with another idea. You know what I mean? Because pulling out a gun, I mean, that's ridiculous, which they've done it in Japan. I've seen it at one of the comedy shows they have there. But yeah, that would have been, I mean, come on. We went from guys getting hung by ropes off of ledges, you know, and Ted Petty, I remember, was hanging from his ankle and almost died because he didn't realize, you know, whoa, this is no bullshit. You know, like if this rope breaks, I'm going to fall on my head.
That was the Dory Funk that did that to him, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, I mean, me and the Pitbull, me and my partner, we wrestled Dory and his brother. You know what I mean? We had great matches against the Funk brothers. That's what was so cool about being in ECW, man. We got to work guys that, well, we were lucky before we started when it was Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, so it wasn't even Eastern yet, Championship Wrestling. But they were bringing in, like Ty Gordon was bringing in Ric Flair, Abdul the Butcher, Playboy Buddy Rhodes. I mean, they were bringing in guys back then that, you know, Jimmy Snuka, Don Morocco, Kevin Sullivan, you know, where, you know, it helped us so much because as soon as we left, I mean, I remember meeting Ric Flair, and the next thing I know, I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, living, working for Paul Jones and George Scott, and I see Ric Flair every day, you know, almost, you know what I mean? So it helped us out because I was supposed to go in the ring, me and my partner, and Abdul the Butcher was going in the ring he had a blade on every single finger. And they gave us his jewelry and said, you hold this, you're not going in the ring. And we were like, well, the booker said it. He goes, I don't give a shit what the booker says. And this is Ric Flair. So I'm like, well, I better listen to him. I might as well listen to him and stay back here and be safe. And that's exactly what he wanted us to do. We did it. Plus watch his jewelry.
Now my third part that I got to know, you watched Dark Side of the Ring last week, Plane Ride from Hell. Now Dreamer, I want to say this, I speak for both of us. I am not condoning, disowning. I'm making no comment when I say this about what Tommy Dreamer said. I'm going to say first, Tommy Dreamer is a man who loves wrestling. You can tell that he was truly the probably a little fat kid that watched wrestling, that achieved his dream. He grew up to be a wrestler. He, you know, his family got to see him wrestle in a global scale. And when he was doing his interview, and keep in mind, I could edit this interview to make either of us look like garbage. So I always throw a grain of salt into these shows. But when Dreamer's like, Ric Flair, he coming down, he's got his, I'm paraphrasing, he's got his dick in his hand. That's just Ric Flair. Tommy Dreamer lost his job at Impact. He lost his job at Bustin' Open. Should Tommy Dreamer have simply said, no comment, or I didn't see it? What's your take on that?
I see worse shit on television at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So what's the difference? I mean, they're telling you what the fuck happened. The fans are interested to know what happened. So now all of a sudden, promoters have a conscience and they're going to fire him because he said that he didn't like what he's seen. What the fuck is that? You know what I mean? It's like you can't say anything anymore without people freaking out about something. You know what I mean? God forbid. I don't understand. I mean, I blame them. They're the ones who I'll give you an example. That guy, Joey, whatever his name is, he poured the oil down his trunk.
Joey Ryan.
And have the people grab his junk and take a bump. Okay, it's to all those promoters. You're the assholes. You're the fucking scumbags that would let him do that on your show in front of kids and children and whatever, and then actually have people sell it. I mean, to me, that was the stupidest thing, and that's what started hurting the business, man, big time. And then that's what got into where you got the guys that can't wrestle and they want to be girls now, so they become a girl and they wrestle, okay? And then that started. And now it just keeps getting, it's just, what's next? what's going to be next? So I mean, so that Joey Ryan, I guess he's done. I haven't seen him, heard of him
He got
on
accused
any
of
card.
like some shenanigans, so to speak, inappropriate with the ladies, and he's done. But he had no talent. I've seen him live. If I grab your dick and I squeeze you're going to go down. You're going to fall. I'm going to hurt you. I'm not going to grab your dick and you're not going to go 1, 2, 3 and throw me 10 feet. And anybody that sells that, and Mick Foley has sold it, that makes you look like a bigger piece of shit than him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I went to a show and the promoter said you're working him, and he said I want to do this spot, I would laugh at him and say, we're not doing that fucking spot. No fucking way. No way. Absolutely not. And he would probably sit there and cry all he wants. We ain't doing it. I don't care if that's your gimmick. It's the stupid. When I first saw it, I just knew it was going to bring heat and it was going to bring problems. Because what he was doing eventually was he was doing matches with girls and having the girls grab it.
Yep.
In other words, saying you have to grab it for this spot. So it's putting them in an uncomfortable situation, which is now causing problems with the girls in the business. Which I don't see why a guy should be wrestling a girl anyway. Doesn't make any sense to me.
No.
But that caused a big problem. And by him being a scumbag, wanting to wrestle girls and having them do that spot, he wanted to do it just to hook up with the chicks. I mean, I'm not stupid, bro. I've been there, done that, and done 20 million more. So don't even go there, man.
Well, he had the gig where if you took your picture with him, like if you were an autograph signing, and I'm making up these prices, I don't remember, but it was like, take your selfie with Joey Ryan, $50. Take your selfie where you're holding his dick, $100. So if you're going to pay $100 to grab this guy's dick, you're the scumbag, really. I mean, you're a John, he's a whore. I mean, there's no other way to say it, but
I didn't, like I said, I didn't like it from the get-go, and I knew it was going to be a problem. I just didn't know it was going to last as long as it did. You know what I mean? But now here's the problem. You see the problem. You know what I mean? He caused a lot of problems, and maybe what he's getting right now he deserves. You know what I mean? Because think about the girls. Some of them are married. Most of them have boyfriends. Oh, you got to work that guy tonight? Come on, man. Like I said, if I had to work him and he said I had to grab that to a spot, I would laugh in his face and say, dude, it ain't going to happen tonight. Matter of fact, I don't even have to give you a finish. I'll just call it out there. So I'll see you out there. And we'll see if he even showed up in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
And I think in Dreamer's case, like I said, I'm not going to defend. If some guy waved his dick in my lady's hand, had his dick in his hand and waved it in my lady's face, I would treat it as rape and I would beat the shit out of him. So I can't condone anything. But I think in Dreamer, not to defend him, but here you have Dreamer and they're probably like, oh, did Ric Flair wave his dick in the face? Oh, that's just Ric Flair. But then they're splicing in this poor victim, and she was a victim, and I feel sorry for her. They're splicing it in between Dreamers, so then Dreamer's just looking worse and worse and worse as it goes.
Yeah, but you got to also remember too, I mean, you heard them say, and I know that's true, is the stewardesses hung out with the wrestlers at nighttime and drank with them at the bar all night. So don't say, how we are when you know us and you get to meet us. We're nuts, especially if we're trapped on an airplane for 14 hours. We're going to have problems. You're going to see some shit. I was going to Australia and New Zealand, and I remember to this day, it was my first ever tour. I'd never been out of the country, not alone New Jersey or Philadelphia. But I was going to New Zealand as the American Pitbulls versus the British Bulldogs. And going there, I remember I was on the plane. We were on a big ass plane. And we left Hawaii to go straight to New Zealand. And Dynamite went into the bathroom, came out of the bathroom, butt fucking naked. Butt naked. walking up and down the aisles, drunk as a skunk, drunk, out of his mind. We all laughed our asses off, but he didn't do nothing dirty like any girls, or he didn't try to do anything like that. And I've been out with Flair a lot in North Carolina. I've seen him drink a lot and party a lot, but I've never seen him get aggressive with a woman. Like, I never saw that. Never. So, I mean, and how can Dreamer and, I mean, even Rob Van Dam said they took a lot of words out of context, and put different way they edit things nowadays. They can edit it any way they want, and even he said that. But you got to remember too, they were in another part of that plane. They were in a different section.
Yeah, Dreamer ain't first class with Ric Flair.
Huh?
Dreamer ain't up there in first class with Ric Flair. I remember him in WWE. He was eating the fucking toilet cleaner things in the gimmick with the Undertaker. He was not with Ric Flair.
No. Ric Flair is in up there with Vince McMahon and hanging out with them guys.
And where was
Vince's partying?
Where was Vince? Everybody says the
Vince was sitting right there with his wife. Vince was sitting there probably smoking a joint, relaxing, chilling, sitting back, because that's what he does. And he probably figured, let him blow off steam. I mean, we were on the fucking runway for 7 hours. There's nobody to blame for that. You can't blame the boys for that. You could blame the airline for keep putting carts of alcohol on there.
Yes. I would have been drunk off my ass after 7 hours.
Yes, I mean you're sitting there for 7 hours when you could have been home at 7 hours already. You know what I mean? So of course they're going to get loaded. Of course it's going to be a fucking ride from hell. You know what I mean? I've been on some of them plane rides where everybody goes crazy and it's insane. But as far as even the stewardesses mentioned shit, which I heard were signed NDAs and weren't supposed to say anything. So why is Tommy Dreamer and everybody else getting in trouble? What about the stewardesses that signed the NDAs?
It's like tonight. It's going to be on. Here's Behind the Curtains, fans. We're recording on a Thursday. Tonight's episode is all about Chris Kanyon and the tragic life of Chris Kanyon. And it's like, and he led a double life because he was a homosexual. This is the 70s. This is the 80s. Who gives a rat's ass if he was gay? He did not commit suicide because he was gay.
Was he our first? He wasn't the first one to be
Patterson.
gay.
Pat Patterson, openly gay.
There's many more. But it's just a point that, all right, so you're doing a story on him because he had a rough time because he was gay. Look how many gay guys are in the business right now. Okay, there's a ton of them. Okay, maybe they're more acceptable now. Okay, they weren't acceptable back then. I mean, just like being in a pro football league, you're not going to tell your teammates you're gay on an NFL team. They're going to kill you. Back in the day, they would beat the living shit out of you or try to. Now, or put bounties on your head. Now they understand, they learn to live with it, and they get it. You know what I mean? You have that. It's in our business now. We have to deal with it. We can't make fun of it. We can't, mock it because we're just going to get heat.
And who cares? I mean, I think Kanyon, we're going to go back to, and I'm sure it's going to be painted out. I'm going to predict this. It's going to be painted out that he was afraid to tell anyone he was gay and he killed himself. It's not going to be, this guy probably had some mental problems. This guy did this. This guy did that. That's what the underlying thing is, but they're going to sensationalize it, I believe. Because Kanyon was a hell of a talent. I mean, he got saddled with some stupid ass gimmicks in his time, but he made all of them work. He was very good. And do I believe he killed himself because he was gay? Fuck. No, he didn't.
He had drug problems just like everybody else. You know what I mean? And like I said, back then, some guys knew he was gay, especially the guys that traveled with him. And they didn't care, and they didn't bust his balls about it. So it wasn't like he was under stress about it. At least I don't think so. I mean, at the times I met him, he was cool to me, and I was cool to him, and I never even thought of it. I mean, the way he acted, like he didn't want nobody to know. But I understand because back then, you know, he would have got a lot of heat. But like I said, there were so many other guys that were in our business that were homosexual. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a ton of them. So I don't know why. Like, I was even surprised they would do Dark Side of the Ring, Chris Kanyon. You know what I mean? I was just like,
Yeah, how is that a Dark Side of the Ring episode?
yeah, unless they turned it around and they're going to make it seem like, oh, he was gay, he was under stress, he couldn't handle the pressure, and that made him commit suicide. And if that's the case, that's bullshit. So,
And because he was, and it's not like he was some guy. I mean, he was a mid guy in WCW, and then when when the company went to shit, he became a higher guy. Vince picked him up. He was always there. You know, he was a upper mid Carter, but you know, he had national television all those years. He was talented. He was a good talker. He had that long program with Raven. It wasn't like he was some miserable destitute making $10 a week.
No, he was making great money. He was making back then. I'm telling you, man, money was crazy. I know Nash and Hall were bringing in $800,000-900,000 a year to go to WCW and do nothing. But wear an NWO t-shirt.
Hall said he still makes 6 figures a year off NWO merchandise sales.
He probably does.
Everybody
Hogan owns, that's Hogan's gimmick. NWO is Hogan's brand. He owns that trademark. And he made sure he took that sucker. You know, that's his. I mean, I've been to his home. He's got his big ass cigarette boat, NWO, right on that sucker, bro. You know what I mean? It's his.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the turn. I didn't see it coming. Very few things do you not see coming. I didn't see that coming.
And it was good when they did it. And it actually meant something. That's how I look at it. It definitely meant something.
Now, what's his name? I always ask you a weird question. Kidman, Billy Kidman, when he was in Raven's Flock, you know, he was good. He had the heroin itch. He said that in WC, I know you weren't there, but you know the people, when Raven and Saturn, them greatest gimmick in the world, just sitting in the crowd, drinking their beer, you know, watching the matches when he was in WCW. Kidman and them said all they did was do drugs nonstop during that whole show. Do you believe that's true, or do you think he's just making up shit?
No, that's fucking true. That's totally true. I was going to be in the Flock. I know. I mean, it's true. And I've heard Perry Saturn and I've heard Raven both talk about it, how they would go to Philadelphia, pick up 5,000 ecstasy pills, bring them back to Atlanta, go in the locker room and give everybody one. The whole locker room was like, woo, buzzing, man. I mean, it was insane, dude. Insane. It's like it's like we turned the WCW locker room into the ECW locker room is what happened.
I mean, you would see him legitimately. Like, I remember when Raven first started, he just, I don't have hair, I can't do it. And you know, his beer he was drinking, but it was like, I remember sitting there as a fan, like, all right, it's Raven. But in the back of my mind, you know, as an adult, it was like, this man is getting paid to sit in the front row and drink and watch a wrestling show. This is the greatest job in the world. You know, because I mean, it was like, what, 3-4 months before he ever even stepped over that railing to wrestle. He got paid to watch TV.
It was awesome. I mean, I had to get my knee done. I had to get knee surgery. So that kept me out of it. And then he brought Perry in. And I had no problem with it. You know what I mean? I had to get my knee fixed. Can't do anything about it. But later on, you know, they called us up. I mean, it was DDP, Kevin Sullivan, Diamond Dallas Page, Terry Taylor, and Bischoff with Raven. And they're like, well, I think it's time to leave Paul. And we're like, absolutely. Why? What do you have in mind? You know, they're like, we want to bring you in for the pay-per-view for Christmas, and you guys are going against the Steiners, and you're getting the belts. So get ready. We're going to give you a 3-year deal with an option for another 3 years. And we were very happy with that. They wanted to give us a night to night. And I remember Kevin Sullivan pulling me aside and literally telling me, don't do night to night. don't do night to night. Because if you do night to night, they can get rid of you any night. So let's sign that 3-year deal. And I was like, absolutely, okay. You know, 'cause I could have signed that day right there for the night to night. But for us to do the contract, they had to write up the contract. And that's when Bischoff said, all right, you call me Monday morning, I'll give you your flight information. You guys will fly down to Atlanta. We'll get you signed in. And then we want to get you situated on where you want to live. That was another thing that they were very into. Like we either had to live in Atlanta or Florida. Like I had to move from Philly. That's what they told me. And I had no problem. I was ready to move to Melbourne, Australia, bro. I was there for 9 months. I was like ready to move there and live. I didn't care. I loved it there. It was awesome. I mean, the police don't even have to carry guns there. That's how cool it was. So yeah, they gave us that deal. We were happy. We were so happy. You know, I mean, we couldn't believe it. And then the day I called, that's when he broke the news to me. Like I already heard that Vince bought ECW, but I had no idea he was going to buy WCW. Man, I had no idea. They had no idea. You know, but I guess Turner just could not say no to the money. He had to take it and roll. You know, and it sucked because we were set. You know, and then right after that, that's when I went to Melbourne, Australia to work for Mark Lewin, which is Purple Haze and from Kevin Sullivan days. And we did hardcore championship wrestling. And we were on TV. We worked 4 nights a week and we were doing well. Like I said, I was going to move there. I was making good money and I loved Australia. It was a beautiful place to live.
I got a weird question for you because when Perry Saturn came over to ECW, a lot of people might not remember this. And he had left ECW, and I liked Saturn. I was marked for Saturn, and he actually won. I think it was the U.S. title. They had a lot of titles. He won it like within 2 weeks, and they were calling him the most dangerous champion ever. That's what they were calling Taz in ECW. And I know him and Taz were close. They worked at the school. Was he kind of like, I would have been like, that motherfucker, he stole my name. Was there a little heat there because of that?
There might have been. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, a lot of guys, put it this way, I remember being in Cincinnati, Ohio, where the Football Hall of Fame is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were there and we were doing a show. It was an ECW. We had like a weekend run in that area. And first of all, I'll give you one example. We're at the building, we're sitting outside chilling. Here comes New Jack in a pickup truck, doing about 100 miles an hour. Stops at the door, locks him up, gets out of the truck, goes to the back of the truck, pulls out a fucking chainsaw. Where's the fucking Dudleys? I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers. Goes inside the building, turns the chainsaw on, is looking for him. What a crazy fucking mess that was. So eventually they, I guess, sat down and talked it out and made out, and they were better. So I'm upstairs getting dressed and I'm not thinking nothing, you know. I lost my partner. I'm with Johnny at the time. He's still alive. Teddy passed away. So, you know, I'm trying to keep him happy. You know, we're both a mess. But next thing I know, I'm like, my head's down, I'm getting dressed. You know, I looked up and there's Bubba. I looked to my left, there's Devon. So I just looked back down, I'm still getting dressed. Like I pretty much didn't even sell it. So once I had both my boots on and I know, okay, I got my feet on the ground. I sat back and just said, like, what's up? Like, why are you even sitting here? And they're like, oh no, we just want to say hi. We want to say hello. And we want to make sure there's no heat. And I'm like, what do you mean heat? Like what, with New Jack heat? He's like, yeah. I go, why would there be heat? He's like, well, we did use your finish a couple times in WWF. I'm like, you think I give a fuck about that? They know it's my finish, regardless. I don't care how many times you use it. They know it's ours. I said, everybody steals everybody's gimmicks. I mean, how long have you been in the business, boys? You know? Well, we just want to make sure we don't have no heat with you. And, we're boys and all that stuff. I said, I got no heat with you guys. Enjoy. Make your money. Do what you got to do. But if I fucking find out you do it again, I'm going to fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? But I was messing with them. You know what I mean? Because I know, like when I was there, Cornette told us not to use it. We're working the headbanger. He's like, don't use the super bomb. I'm like, why? Well, you're in Philly, it'll get too over. And that's exactly why.
I was say that's the point, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but if they don't want you to get over, they don't want you to get over. You know what I mean? So they didn't want us to get, like, I guess they had us there to mess with our heads, and they weren't really going to give us a job. And God forbid, if we did do the super bomb, we would have got over like a motherfucker, and then they would have had to hire us, I still think we had a great match. We put the headbangers over, which halfway through, people were already thinking we were going to win. So and they were going to put Terry Reynolds with us as our manager, which I had no problem with. You know what I mean? As long as I didn't have to get involved with other people's problems. You know what I mean? But yeah, they never called us back. And then that's when Larry Sharp hit us up and said, Kevin Sullivan hit you guys up, and King Curtis, they all want you to go to do the Austria territory, you know what I mean? And go for it. We were like, fuck yeah, man. So we went to Melbourne, and before you know it, it was right before the Olympics. So it was a bitch getting in. But once we got in, they gave us we had our work visa. They gave us a place to stay. All we had to do was pay for our meals. And to be honest with you, since we were the heavyweight tag team champions there, with the Wild Samoans were there, the Bruise Brothers were there, the Headhunters were there, the two Spanish guys from Japan, among other 2 or 3 other tag teams, and we had the straps. No questions asked. No matter, and I tell people this all the time, you go look up every company we've been in, we had the belts. It may have taken 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, we had the belts. It didn't make a difference. We always got them because we drew money. Because our promos were so blunt, especially radio shows in other countries and stuff were so blunt. I mean, the places, like we were in Melbourne, we were in New Zealand against the British Bulldogs, and we went to a radio station because they wanted the heels to go to the radio stations and get these people pissed. And we would go on there and say, you Australian people, New Zealand men, you can't handle your women. You see, we can handle 6-1. You can't. So we would make all these like gimmicks and mockery of the men and say, if you want a real man, American man, we'll be at this club tonight. We'd pull up at the club and there'd be lines wrapped around the building to get in this place. And we couldn't believe it, just by and then eventually like somebody pulled us aside and said, somebody may try to stab you one night. You got to start calming down a little bit. And we ended up doing that because that was our first tour ever. So we went off the hinges, dude. We didn't care. But as we grew up and we started learning, like, we got to relax. We're in another country. They could break in our hotel room and like kidnap us. Who's going to find us? Nobody.
No, I'm curious because you had, I know you got to go for football soon. You had Jason, and of course Francine. Why in the fuck did they ever stick you in? And no offense to this guy, I don't know. Why the fuck did they stick you with Lance Wright, the hype central guy, for a little while? I thought, in the suits and everything, I was watching, like, God, this is fucking dumb. It didn't last long, but I was like, what the hell? This guy just needs something to do? Or
yeah, we were on our way out. We were like I said, we were going to WCW. So Paul didn't know what the hell to do with us because at that time we had a little bit of problems with the law over some stupid cannabis bullshit, which was ridiculous. They blew it so much out of proportion. They made it seem like we were drug lords when we're talking about one pound of pot that was so bad, like I couldn't even smoke it. That's how bad it was. And some stupid ass kid, junkie kid, just so happened to get caught with a quarter ounce of it and felt like, hey, you know, these cops scared him so bad, he turned around and said, hey, I can get you these guys, I could set these guys up on television and you could become a celebrity police officer. So this cop must have thought he was going to be a celebrity, and it didn't work out that way. You know what I mean? It didn't work out that way. I mean, I was getting my picture taken, and the guys at the Roundhouse were laughing, and I'm like, are you laughing at me or with me? And they're like, we're laughing with you, bro. We're not laughing at you. And I'm like, well, what's up? They go, there was an old man here yesterday with 25 to 30 pounds of pot. Okay. And I could see him being arrested. They arrested you for 1 pound. I mean, what the hell is going on? Like, this is stupid. You know, and it took them 2 years to get a judge to even send a warrant to come and get us. I mean, it was a joke. And it was bullshit. And instead of people, you know, that night, I don't know if you've seen that promo I cut that night at the arena, I pretty much said, what's the rat sitting in here right now? The one who set us up. I mean, I went off the script.
Was that where you guys were wearing like the white suits, like you were supposed to be fucking like Colombian?
Oh, we were coming out smoking cigars, and because they wanted us to show, like, act like you're rich, act like you're making a ton of fucking money, act like you don't care. You know what I mean? And it was part of the gimmick, and we didn't care. And listen, WCW didn't give a shit. They're like, good, you're on probation for 3 years. At least we know you'll behave yourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they're like, we're going to give you the job anyway. It has nothing to do with, you know what I mean? It was the biggest joke in the world watching us go to probation with real felons and real criminals. I mean, they would even look at us, because I knew these people, and they would look at us and be like, why are you even here? I said, my probation officer is an alcoholic back here. He's a moron. I walk in there and all you do is smell vodka, and they're going to look at me and say I'm a criminal. I'm like, you know what I mean? It was a joke, man. It was the biggest joke in the world. And all they did was screw up my life for a couple years is what they did. You know, they didn't get, the cop that busted us didn't get no award. You know, what happened? Maybe I banged his wife behind his back or something like that. Maybe she was a wrestling fan. I still did it. I'm still here. You know what I mean? You didn't do shit to me. Should have just shot me. That would have been, I would have done something like that. You know what I mean? If that's what I did. But who knows? I mean, all I know is a big joke. It was a waste of court's time. I mean, even the judge was upset. Like, why am I even looking at this? Why are we even here? You know what I mean? It was the stupidest thing ever. And the DA was another moron, stupid moron there too at that time. You know, he had no clue. I knew the old DA, who was Lynn Abraham, who was a woman, who gave us, me and my partner, awards. I had 6 judges give me and my partner awards because of the work we did without work. We would go to the children's hospitals. We would do all kinds of benefits. We would show up at people's parties. You know what I mean? We did a lot of shit in Philadelphia, dude. And we got awards to show for it. So, you know, even when these pigs busted us, I told the cops right to his face, the DEA agent, I said, you keep getting wise with me and keep talking to me like that. Not only am I going to punch you in the face, I'm going to call Lynn Abraham and have her fucking punch you in the face. I said, because you guys came to my house with a bunch of shit. You know, you came to my house and found nothing. Nothing. There was nothing in my house. They took my, I had steroids and they took them and did them. I didn't get charged for that. You know what I mean? They charged me for something I did 2 year ago and within those 2 years, we didn't do anything. You know what I mean? We were getting our lives situated, you know, our careers were kicking in. And it just takes one loser. So they took advice and they took a junkie's word, and went and arrested me and my partner, who were not junkies. So they let a guy that does heroin, a piece of shit loser. These are how these cops are. They let him walk and tried to ruin our lives. Guys who were just on TV trying to make a living, being honest. I had a pound of weed in my basement that was there for 3 years. I didn't want it. Somebody called me up and said, yo, can I get that? You could have it. Take it. I don't even want it. Take it. And then they try to charge me for 2 of them, which was bullshit because they didn't have shit. I fucked up because if I would have got my lawyer, the one that I know, I would have walked. I got another lawyer who at the time wanted to play ball where I don't want to play ball. My lawyer, if I would have got the lawyer I wanted to, he even told me he would have got me off, especially for that bullshit. It was bullshit. Then they moved the kid all the way to Florida and he's hiding. And I'm in Florida now. So guess what? If I run into you, what's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? It's a joke, dude. Joke to all of them. They all can kiss my ass because I'm here. Half of them are probably dead by now, or they're not working as cops no more because they were pussies in high school. See, police should be wolves, and then you have your sheep. You know, you always need a wolf to take care of the sheep. You can't hire a sheep to take care of a wolf. And that's the problem with police today. They hire all the fat, out of shape, losers who never got laid in high school. They were fucking virgins until they graduated or got married. They're the ones who become police officers. And that shouldn't be that way. And that's why we have the problems we have today. No bullshit. It's because they hired people that are not wolves. They should not have a badge. I'm from a state of state police that you got to be one of the baddest. You got to be a bad motherfucker to be a New Jersey state trooper. And they make it very, 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 very clear. And that's how it goes. But I don't know what's going on with these other places, bro. They're hiring guys. Look what happened to that black guy. That cop murdered him, man. Murdered him. And what was that cop in high school? Look at him. You think he was a jock? You think he was a popular with the girls? He probably sat home alone and jerked off every single night and couldn't wait and probably was sat there and cried because he had to go back to school the next day.
He was not the big boss man, to say the least.
Exactly. And these guys become police now to think that they could be the big boss man. Well, I know police officers that tell me straight to my face, I pull a car over, I'm scared. I don't know who's behind that door of that car. How do I know he's not sitting here like this, waiting for you to walk up to his door? And especially if he's got a fiberglass car, bang, that bullet's going right through like a box of Kleenex. You know what I mean? They're putting their lives on the line, you know? I would just think that they got to get their shit together when it comes to hiring police. That's just my opinion.
Who's playing tonight on football? I know you got a game to watch here pretty soon.
Who we got tonight? I think it's the Texans and the Carolina Panthers.
I love the Carolina Panthers, but I also love the Minnesota Vikings, so I don't have a lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I'm a Steeler fan. I got hurt pretty hard last week. I was very surprised we lost that game. We just weren't clicking, man. Nothing was clicking at all.
Hey, Britt Baker still won, and she has the terrible towel, so you know you got one win going for you.
I know. Is that crazy, man? I love her coat. I got to put her over for her jacket.
Oh, that's awesome. I love
all the Steeler teams and shit. I mean, I got to give her props. And it's smart what she's doing because she's kind of a heel baby face now.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of turning into a Steve Austin gimmick if you think about it. And all it took was that one match.
Yep.
She had one really good match.
And she's gorgeous. Like, I would hit on her. I wouldn't be afraid of Adam Cole coming after me. Might be fat, but I'm still 10 times bigger than him. I mean, I'd make a move on her.
Let me ask you this question. Do you think by Adam Cole leaving NXT put Triple H in the hospital?
Boy, because that was his boy. I mean, that was
That
the
was
that
his
was the
boy.
NXT. That was like a 5-year run in NXT. That could have done it.
I mean, the only other guy was Rollins, and he hasn't screwed him. I mean, he stayed there, but I didn't think. I mean, I knew his girl was the dentist over there in AEW. I knew that, but I never thought he was going to jump ship because I mean, Triple H and Shawn Michaels like love that guy, which I don't understand. I mean, to me, he still looks like a 12-year-old kid.
He looks like a manager, and which is I think what they wanted to make him. But like when he ran down with the Bucks yesterday, I looked at my kid and my wife, and I was like, because I like Adam, I think he's a very good talker. I think he's very talented. But I looked at him and I looked at my wife, and I was like, I never realized how puny this guy is. I mean, Daniel Bryant looked like a goddamn Hulk Hogan next to him. I was like,
dude, Bryant looked like he was in like fantastic, best shape I've ever seen.
Yeah. And Kenny Omega looks great, but you know, I see these as the honky tonk man would say, the old buggy whip arms. It was like, boy, here comes some kid from junior high. I mean, he looked puny.
That's the same thing. I got to give Pillman a props. Pillman made MJF look like a little fucking kid too.
MJF does not have a big great. Now that Wardlow guy is big. That's it. I like him.
Wardlow trains. I don't think MJF could do a freaking push-up.
Look at I'm a Darby mark. You know, Darby's my favorite guy over there. FTR are not big guys. FTR are about my size. They look like it was like looking at Andre and Malenko when you had Darby with them. Darby's another one. I told my son, I was like, here's the sad thing. I said, when I was a kid, I'm gonna know King Kong Bundy. I'm knowing Hogan, Big John. I'm knowing these guys around him. It's like if I ran into Darby or any Cole, I'm not gonna recognize them. I mean,
you gotta understand. Look at it this way. Look at Darby a little bit differently, okay? Look at him as his gimmick. He's a skateboarder, okay? From Seattle, which I just got back from, okay? So I've seen it. Seattle's a rough place.
Yeah.
A lot of drugs. It's very bad. Very bad. Darby, he does that coffin gimmick. I mean, he's actually given his body up for that. So, yeah. So, to me, I think if he got in it, to be a skate, I wouldn't want to see him come out big with a skateboard. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather him stay skinny, stay in that gimmick. You know what I mean? He don't need to be big. He can still get over. Like Orange Cassidy. I don't think he needs to be big.
Love that guy.
Yeah, he's got a great gimmick. I heard he's got a beautiful girlfriend who's a model. I mean, if anybody can get it, Orange Cassidy can get it by doing this gimmick. You know what I'm saying? I was always told coming up in the business, you're either a good wrestler, you know, or you're just a gimmick. So there's guys out there that can wrestle their asses off and they could do from pillar to post, do whatever you want. But then you got one guy like Orange Cassidy that goes out there and taps you and taps you and taps you. But that's his gimmick. The gimmick gets over. And then you don't need to be a good wrestler if your gimmick's over. Just have the gimmick. Yeah.
My son's favorite wrestler. My son he wants him to be heavyweight champ more than anything in the world. That, I mean, and his friends, they love Orange Kid. Hands in the pockets, do not. It's great. He'll have a long career.
Listen, me and Sandman were on the road a weekend a while back, and we were sitting back talking about it, and he loves it too. We love it. To us, it's a night off. You know. But the funny part about it is he's like New Jack. He could do his gimmick, but he can also really, really, really wrestle if he wanted to. And people don't know that about New Jack. New Jack, everybody thought, oh, he's just going to pull a knife or fork on you and, you know, hit you with the trash can. If you said, Jack, tonight we're going to work, let's wrestle, he could do that with no problem. And people would sit there and be like, I can't believe he just did that, because it's New Jack. But that's just what people know. The people do not know, and some people do know.
Well, I mean, if you look at Orange, even best shape of my life, gimmicked up, I couldn't do a kip up worth of shit. To do one with your hands in your pockets, there's athleticism right there. I mean, and even you dive over the ring, hands in the pockets. To be able to do it, with
like
that.
I told you, just like I told you, he's got Sting with him now. It's giving him a push of the world. And what he does, I look at him, man. He's straight as an arrow. He's clean. He's putting his body on the line every single night with those coffin drops, bro. I mean, all it's going to take is one bad bump, man, and that could be it. You know what I'm saying? And he knows the risk he's taking, but that's what's working. So he's got to keep doing it, That's like New Jack said. He's like, hey, I jumped off a 10-foot wall, whatever. Next weekend, it's a 15-footer. Following weekend's a 30-footer, 40-footer. It's never going to stop. I have to keep building it. I got to keep going. So I'm hoping, I mean, if he had some more thickness on his back, yeah, it would probably save his ass a lot better. But I just hope he's careful what he does. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, I broke my neck and I never thought I was going to break my neck. You know what I mean? And if it wasn't for the muscle in my body, that's what saved my life. Some of these kids don't have that kind of muscle, man. So I'm not looking forward to seeing anything like that happen, but I just hope they understand that their body is their temple and that's what's going to keep them working. And if you're not training, you should start. If John Moxley trains, come on. Everybody should train.
I guess with that, we can't talk about Horror Story because I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it here in a little bit.
I'm not saying nothing. You're gonna be very surprised, though, bro. You're gonna be very. Put it this way: I looked at my girl and said, "No way." That's freaked me out. So
we're gonna have to do a recap next week and a heels recap. We only got a couple more of those too.
Heels, yeah. I mean, I love heels. I think people should watch it. It might make, I mean, the business is already exposed as it is. So just watch it. You'll learn some wrestling slang. You'll get to see what goes on in a small promotion. Huh? Oh, yeah, the guy from Heels was at AEW.
He was in the front row.
He was in the front row. Because you got to remember, Punk and Luke Hawk, my friend Luke Hawk and then CM Punk, they're like the guys that helped them guys train for that show. So he's a really nice guy. And I heard he broke his back already. He's getting ready for the show.
He did the, because I knew him from Arrow because I'm a big superhero mark. And he did the celebrity edition of that American Ninja Warrior. Shit, he tore through that thing in record time. I mean, that guy's an athlete. I was hoping to see him get involved in the ring. I was thinking he was going to help Cody. That's his boy. I thought he might do something, but Cody was too busy getting booed out of the building and Arn's fat ass falling. No offense to Arn Anderson.
Me and my girl are watching him go around. Because I've done that myself where I went around the corner of the post, and it's not fucking easy to do. Especially if you have a
Waffle House menu in your hand.
If you have a belly, like, I don't know, 2 feet out, you're not going to be able to hold on to that thing. I mean, I thought he fell, and I was just like, did he just fucking fall? But then the camera didn't show it. So I was like, okay, so that tells me maybe that was a shoot. He just fell. Because when Cody came around and said, are you okay? He looked pissed off. Arn looked pissed. Yeah, he was just like, get the fuck away from me. Like, in other words, like, I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? I'm the enforcer, Arn Anderson. I don't fall down.
Big belly and a Waffle House menu. I still go back to, I like when Kevin Nash had the neck brace and just went.
Yeah.
That's how, sadly, that's how I'll always remember Arn Anderson with Kevin Nash just going.
Yeah, none. Don't get me wrong. I wrestled Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. They were called the Brain Busters.
Yep.
That's when me and Anthony wrestled, the Pitbulls versus the Brain Busters. And I remember driving home. I had this hand right here behind my trap. I'm driving home. I'm like, they plastered me, bro. Arn plastered me, bro. He plastered me. Thank God I had big traps, man, because I was hurting the whole ride home. But they were one of the best tag teams ever. Those two. There's no doubt about it.
I guess with that, we'll let you guys get back to your thing. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Next
Check
week,
it out, guys.
nice American Horror Story recap next week for sure.
Oh, you're going to love it. I just can't wait to go over it with it. It was sick, man. It was sick. Everybody, see you next week. Peace.